Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's show. This day is also very special, as is every day, because tonight we are trying to build a bunch of space stations and hopefully make our presence in space completely and utterly permanent. Hopefully from this season and until we never finish, so forever. We will have at least one Kerbal somewhere in space because we are here to stay. And yeah, hope you like this little intro speech that I made. And I think we can start. Yeah, let's go ahead. So here's the thing. We want to launch space stations. And we kind of can. I mean, we do have like reasonable amounts of funds and everything. There's just this one tiny problem. Because launching a space station just by itself, like it's just, a space station, doesn't really make much sense. It makes sense only if you have a lab there. And the problem is that for a lab to be reasonable, it has to have some experiments on it. And the thing is that we don't have scanning tech yet, which is one of the tech nodes that could give us access to some lab experiments, specifically like jammed to lab experiments. Or we could, for example, research hydroponics and then we'll get chilled to lab experiments. And there are like some of these nodes that would allow us to get some experiments running on our space station. Unfortunately, we don't have any of that. So tonight, first thing we have to do is we actually have to get a bunch more science just to research those tech nodes. And I was thinking a little bit like, how can we do this? How can we get some science quickly, easily, don't spend much time on it? And what I came up with was to go to Minmus and basically take surface samples. But because Minmus gravity is so low, we can take not one, not two, but just go for it and take surface samples from literally absolutely every single biome on Minmus. How does that sound? Well, to me that sounds like roughly 1,000 science points. Like, we're talking huge amounts of them. The problem is that we not only have to get to Minmus and back, we also need some way to make those hops there. And so I was thinking, like, how can we do this? How can we make a rocket that would be able to actually go up against all odds and make those many jumps? And so I took our Utilis design, which was a spacecraft that went to Minmus, that went to Mon, very versatile spacecraft. And I decided, okay, let's modify it a little bit. First of all, we do have protective airstreams, so I thought, well, let's start using them. And I made it so that the main engine assembly here is made up of a single Terrier liquid fuel engine. It also has a bunch of these ant engines, totaling of 8 of them. The goal of these small engines is to have at least some thrust in case our main engine fails. So if we have an engine failure, we won't just go down and that's it, like that's the end of the mission. No, we will be able to keep fighting for our lives. The problem with this design is the lower stage. So I thought, okay, what can we do? Well, we could launch the spacecraft into orbit of Mon, or Minmus rather, in this case, and then we could do like several hops with the Utilis, and then we can go up, and then we could refuel, because we could just leave this large second stage in orbit. But the thing is, this second stage that you're viewing right now was constructed when I was trying to make my Aurora space station design, which is the space station we're going to be launching today. Here's the space station, and the thing is, like, this space station is going to be launched in 2 parts. It's going to be like the main assembly that you see like in the middle here, and it's also going to be 2 of these arms with bunch of resources and everything. And as you can see, it has been slightly modified because, I mean, we are going to be using bigger tanks. Previously, we used like these tiny little tanks like this. Yeah, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be using pretty damn huge tanks. The problem is that the space station is pretty damn heavy, and so I was like, how can we do this? How can we make our space station into orbit? How can we launch this? And so I started fiddling with the designs, and I came up with the Hyperion here, which is like just a generalized rocket. It also has like MechJet autopilot, so you can like ascend pretty much anything into orbit. And this thing can lift up 19 tons, so like something like this. This is like exactly 19 tons of goodies into orbit, which is our space station. Great, so we can launch it. Well, no, not really, because even though, yes, it can launch 19 tons in orbit, that's 19 tons of relatively, well, like in this case, pretty damn aerodynamic payload. So I came up with the Hyperion B, which is like a slightly modified version. It does have two of these extra liquid fuel engines. It does have like a small extra tank here, this one. And yeah, this can lift stuff into orbit. And when I was fiddling around with different design ideas for the Utilis Mark III, I just used the Hyperion B. Slightly modified it because I wanted to have more Delta V in space, and the payload, like the main payload, is not that big. And so I was like, okay, fine. You know what? Let's take the Hyperion, let's slap it on there just with minor modifications, and that's gonna be it. The problem is that while this spacecraft does have pretty decent Delta V in vacuum, like it's about 6 kilometers per second, which is absolutely insane, it's not that much, because here's the thing. We are going to be launching our space station not only to Kerbin, but also to Minmus, to Mon. We're going to have like 3 of these space stations. The problem with that is that we will need some fuel tanks there just to hang there. It doesn't really matter how they look, just kind of attach them in any way to the space station. Doesn't really matter, just slap them right there. The goal is to just have some storage resources for further expeditions. And so I thought like, okay, well, here's the thing. One thing that we haven't used a lot in our missions are liquid hydrogen engines. Liquid hydrogen engines obviously use liquid hydrogen, and it's really, really cool in that, A, they have absolutely insane ISP. They're like insanely efficient. Like if we take this liquid hydrogen engine, you can see that ISP in vacuum is like 468. The most efficient liquid fuel engine that we have right now has like 350, so it's a lot more efficient. But not only that it's really efficient, the fuel itself is pretty damn light. And the main restriction that we have right now is that we haven't upgraded our launch pad. And so our launch pad is limited to 140 tons, which makes launches kind of hard to design because we always have this limitation that limits our total weight. And so if we are weight limited, we can't go heavier, we have to be more efficient. And so I present to you the Utilis Mark IV. Well, it's actually going to be Mark III. I just decided to save Mark III there for you just to kind of show it off what I was working on in the background. So I'll just name it the concept for Mark III, but the actual Mark III is going to be the Mark IV, I guess. Yeah, so a little bit hard on the naming there. But yeah, the Utilis Mark III, like the actual Mark III that we're going to be launching, it uses pretty much the same upper stage design, like nothing really changed there. Except this time it has a little bit more stuff going on in the lower stages here. We do have just a bunch of docking ports here, and because, well, we will need to dock to it, we also have this like mission to dock 2 vessels around Minmus orbits, and the easiest way to do that is to just split our ship and then dock it together. That's the way I will at least try to complete that docking. I'm not sure if it'll count, but you know, there's also a piece of scrap that's lying there. We could dock to that. That's definitely going to be a different vessel. So I'm not really sure. But in either case, the problem that we have right now is that this thing is like pretty damn heavy. So how can we lift all of this into orbit efficiently? And then I remembered that we do have these Erebus liquid hydrogen engines, which are insanely powerful, insanely efficient, and unfortunately they don't have a lot of turn-on cycles. They can only be rated for 1 ignition in their base configuration, 2 ignitions in their upgraded configuration. So yeah, they're not going to be like super duper cool in terms of the launch cycles, but they are cool in that they have a lot of thrust. And not only do they have a lot of thrust, they also have really, really good efficiency. Like their efficiency in atmosphere is about 370, and in space like 430, which is like above all liquid fuel engines by a lot. So the design I settled with does not use any boosters. It just the boosters are a bunch of fuel tanks and some more Airbus liquid fuel engines. So we've got these, yeah, kind of boosters-ish on the sides here. We also have our main booster that's gonna actually bring us to orbit. And this thing right here, the lower stages with the boosters and the main one, can lift this thing into orbit all by themselves. And so once we are in orbit, we're left with an absolutely insane amount of delta V. We'll have like 4.5 kilometers per second, which is absolutely insane. And the total delta V for this vehicle is 8.5 kilometers, which is absolutely insane. It's almost enough to get into Earth's orbit, which is kind of cool for Kerbal's space vehicle to be able to do that, because I mean Earth is like a lot bigger than Kerbin. It requires, I think, like 9 kilometers per second, something like that, to get into orbit. I think it's like 7.7 to be in orbit, but you also have to account for like drag and everything, so it's like around 9-ish for most vehicles. Yeah, so this is almost enough to get into like actual orbit around our lovely planet Earth. So anyway, but we don't have to account for Earth right now. We only have to account for our trip to Minmus. So like I said, this is going to be the overall design. I will have a little bit more stuff, and let me just show you. So here I also have these monoprop fuel tanks, because I want to just store a little bit of monoprop. But the thing is, that's not the only thing that's there. We also have, let me just show it to you. We also have this like advanced inline stabilizer, which is there just to allow for slightly easier maneuvering once we are in orbit. And what I will also do is I'll put a probe there, so this vehicle will count as a separate vehicle, which is just gonna be nice, I guess. Let me just put it right there, something like that. Okay, great. And I'll also have a docking port right there just to make it easier for us to dock with it, because I mean we do have these docking ports on the side, but they're kind of annoying to use, so I'm not gonna bother with that. And now let me just flip this thing, and yeah, I'm just gonna have to do a little bit of building magic here. Alright, and this is gonna be like the guidance assembly. We'll also put a bunch of solar panels there. Just because, well, we need the vehicle to remain active, and so there's going to be a bunch of these solar panels and also a bunch of these rechargeable batteries. I'll just slap them right there. And yeah, so that's going to be our kind of probe-ish that we're going to be using. Also, we'll need an antenna. Right, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, can we please get a bunch of these? Like, I think we can just slap like 2 of these small antennas right there. We'll just place them something like that. Let me see how they extend. Yeah, that looks good enough. Okay, so we'll just place that right there, just to have a little bit of communication with it. Or, now on second thought, we probably should use fixed antennas, because I mean, deployable antennas are well, you have to micromanage them, and it's a little annoying. So you know what? Let's put 2 of these stationary antennas, and yeah, that's gonna be like the probe control for the lower stage. And the lower stage itself, it will consist of 2 of these tanks and also a Poodle liquid fuel engine hidden right there. All right, now let's rebuild the fairing. Okay, just gotta build it one more time because we've changed the vehicle design a little bit. And just go ahead and build that. Okay, can we do like this? Yes, we can. Okay, yeah, that's gonna be our new fairing. And with that out of the way, I think we can launch it. So again, the goal is to go to Minmus, to sit there in orbit, and to make a bunch of these hops, visiting pretty much every single biome that there is on Minmus. And hopefully we'll have a lot of fuel to do that, to be able to do that. We'll also deploy some deployable science. Hopefully that will give us a little bit of extra science. Like, not sure how much it'll give us, but hopefully at least something extra will come out of that. And what else? Yeah, I think that's kind of it for the design. Don't think I've bought every single part here. Yeah, we're gonna need a bunch more stuff that I've used in the design but haven't actually bought yet. So let me go ahead and yeah, we're gonna have to buy a bunch of stuff. Like I said, I do construct these vehicles before I actually do the missions. The reason for that is that I don't want to bore you too much on the actual stream, because it takes like a little bit of fiddling around, like trying different designs, and it takes some time to get them like really right if you want to perform the missions like really nicely without having to worry too much if it will actually work. And there are different designs, different ideas, different paths that we can take to research. I mean, we could go more into unmanned, we could go more into manned missions. And because of all these potential roads, I don't know which one is the best. I have to like fiddle around and find out like outside of streams. I mean, yeah, I could probably stream that for like in Discord or something like that. By the way, yeah, if you haven't joined Discord, please do so. There's a bunch of interesting stuff there that you can find behind the scenes content. And with that out of the way, yeah, let's go launch this beast. Now, unfortunately, because we're using a liquid hydrogen engine, yes, it'll give us an absolute insane amount of delta V, like 9. It's showing right now like it's 9 kilometers per second. I mean, the delta V there is kind of jumping around all over the place, unfortunately. But yeah, the problem with this design is it's really expensive, because I mean, liquid hydrogen itself is kind of expensive. Engines for liquid hydrogen are even more so expensive. But for now, we do have money to fire those rockets, and I think our goal right now is to do more science rather than just try to constrict ourselves too much around like specifics of like efficient in terms of money designs. Right now, we care only about like overall vehicle performance. And with that out of the way, let's go launch this. The loading is inevitable. How's our vertical stream doing? It exists. Okay, great. All right, let's go launch. Now, here's the problem with another problem with this design is that because we're not really using solid rocket boosters, the ascent profile for this craft is really annoying to master, because in the beginning you have not that great of a thrust to weight ratio. We have like 1.4, which is not a lot. But as we're going to be using up fuel, because we don't detach like boosters or anything, our thrust to weight ratio will start to climb rapidly. It'll get to like 2 point something. And then it'll again drop to like below 1. So the flight profile is kind of hard to master, because we have to go vertically up for quite some time. Then we have to turn at just the right moment, because if we start turning too early, then our vehicle will just take too low of an ascent profile. It won't be able to get out of atmosphere, because our like next stage doesn't really have a lot of thrust to weight ratio. However, if we take too high of an ascent profile, it's going to be just very inefficient. Okay, So let me take my smart ASS from MechJep here. I'm gonna be using that, and I think we can go for launch. Let's set to kill rotation. Let's start the engines and release the clamps. Off we go. Hello there. All right, on we go. Stupid alarms. Okay, and off we go towards Minmus. Okay. Gonna have to be very careful with the ascent profile here. If we go too low, like, we won't be able to escape the atmosphere, because, like, the controls on this spacecraft are not that strong. Like, we do not have, like, a lot of maneuverability. Can you make a reusable rocket in KSP? I definitely can, but, like, that's not the point of these streams. The point of these streams is to just progress. We will have, like, reusable rockets one day. I mean, I think we'll actually have... We'll start using space planes, I think, like, in the next episode. I'm pretty sure of that. Because we probably will start using planes, like, maybe even in this episode. In, like, 1 or 2 episodes, we'll start using space planes. That's going to be very reusable. Alright, let's start to pitch a little harder. I'm going to set it to surface velocity plus, and let's watch our apoapsis. Actually, you know what? Let's try to go a little shallower, because we are ascending quite rapidly there. But like I said, the problem with this design is, like, once the boosters detach, we're gonna have suddenly a lot less thrust to weight ratio. So it's definitely something that we have to watch out for. Okay, let's start pitching in hard, and I think we're about to detach boosters in like 6 seconds or something like that. Damn it, I really want MechJep to make more efficient launches. Okay, let's detach the boosters here. Okay, they have detached almost perfectly. Almost perfectly. Okay, let's point towards progrades and start gaining more horizontal velocity, because we definitely need that. Okay, and I also think that we can release the payload fairing right now. I mean, we're already high enough. Okay, on we go. So like I said, because our design does have, like, a very limited thrust to weight ratio, even though we do have, like, a very high apoapsis right now, I'm still kind of worried that we might not be able to make it to orbit, at least not very efficiently. Definitely is a concern. Also, because we're using liquid hydrogen, we have to cool the tanks, and as you can see, I've also made them I've set the fuel priorities in a way that would use the fuel top to bottom, because I want to keep a bunch of fuel near the engine itself. Oh, damn it! Oops. Oopsie daisy. I wanted to set gimbal to locked. I accidentally shut down the engine, because, I mean, we're playing with Kerbal, and we have limited engine restarts, so we'll have to be careful not to do that anymore. We do have an engineer on board, and he can go and, like, he can service the engine, but yeah, we have to be careful about that. So anyway, like I was saying, because we have liquid hydrogen, we have to cool it, otherwise it will boil off. The boil off rate is not very hard, like, it's not that big of an issue, but it uses up electricity. And speaking of, let's deploy our solar panels. Yeah, like that. That's looking pretty good. And on we go with our acceleration here. Let's circularize here. Yeah, not much to talk about here. Just burning prograde, like pretty standard stuff. Unfortunately, our apoapsis is at 92 kilometers, which is, like, not very efficient. I mean, theoretically, the most efficient launches are when your apoapsis is, like, near 70 kilometers, so, like, really shallow, really low, but not this time, unfortunately. Not very efficient launch, because when I'm streaming, it always is not, like, super efficient, because I always have to, like, watch the stream, I have to talk, and it's harder to concentrate. It's harder to launch them perfectly. Actually, you know what? Let's bitch in here a little bit to just kind of stop raising our apoapsis even further, because I want to raise my periapsis more. And once it's above 70 kilometers, we'll shut down the engine. We're left with 170 meters per second of delta V. That's not a lot, but we can still use some of it. Unfortunately, what we'll have to do right now is we'll have to force our poor Bill here to go on a bit of a spacewalk and service the engine. So let's go do that. Because we do have limited engine restarts. You can service the engines to reset that, but I mean, you have to not forget about that. And you obviously can't do that when you're still in atmosphere. So let's service the engine. Okay, got it serviced. And now it should have, again, 2 engine restarts. We're gonna be using only one of those, but it's still nice to have the second one just in case. Which is the reason why the boosters don't have upgraded engines. They only have like 1 ignition. This one has 2 just in case, so that we can get into orbit, even if something goes slightly wrong. So like I was saying, our goal here is to get to Minmus. Let me just disable a bunch of this stuff. We don't really need that. What we do need is to set Minmus as target. And we're going to be exploiting MechJap here very aggressively. So let's set maneuver planner. And first thing we want to do is, because Minmus is at a slightly tilted orbit, what we have to do is we have to select match planes with targets. And this will create a node to match planes. Okay, and yeah, that's looking pretty good. Okay, let's just press execute next node, and it'll do that automagically for us, which is definitely very nice. Unfortunately, this time we'll have to stage the vehicle in the middle of our maneuver. So what you can do is you can go to utilities, you can set it to auto stage. I usually don't have it on auto stage, but we can just press auto stage once. The reason why I don't really like the MechJap to do auto staging by itself is because sometimes you have a vehicle design where if you will stage it too early, it'll lose control because it doesn't really have enough stability. For example, you only have fins on the lowest stage, and if you stage that too early, the vehicle will flip. So that's the reason why I don't really use auto staging in MechJap, but it's definitely nice to have in this kind of scenario when you just need to perform one maneuver. And with that out of the way, let's just aim towards our maneuver node, and it'll time warp for us. It'll do everything for us. We don't really have to think about anything. It'll just start the engines soon here, I guess. In 7 seconds. Also, if you've watched my previous streams, I was using a very, very low tolerance of like 1/100th of a meter per second. The reason why I'm using slightly higher tolerances right now is because, well, we don't need that kind of accuracy. What I do care is finishing the maneuvers in a reasonable time, because, I mean, executing maneuvers faster is definitely has bonus. And the problem is, because this vehicle is really, really heavy, it's kind of hard to turn it. It's kind of hard to get that, like, super high accuracy. So I'm not going to bother with that. Like, as long as it's, like, within 1/10th of a meter per second, that's good enough. And as you can see, it has matched planes with Minmus here. Very nice. And we can just go there. The way I'm going to do this, there are, like, 2 ways you can plan maneuvers. In this case, you can use Astrogator. You can plot the maneuver like that, and it'll plot it for you. That's definitely possible. Or you can actually use MechJap as well, and you can just set it to by impulsive Hohmann transfer to another target. And I'm gonna set it to intercept only. I'm gonna set to simple coplanar Hohmann transfer because, well, I mean, we don't really need something very complicated. And just like that, press create and execute. Now, unfortunately, it'll set us like on a collision course to Minmus. So it like sets a perfect intercept. So just you go straight to the center of your target, which is not really what we want this time. But here's the thing. I'm gonna use MagJab, I'm gonna make this primary maneuver just to get us towards Minimus, and then I can just make minor corrections if I really have to. Also, I just realized that I forgot to add more nitrogen to our vehicle design here, which is somewhat unfortunate, because we kind of need it for all the spacewalks that we're gonna be doing. Oh well. Well, I mean, something had to go wrong. It's the rule of the stream. I make everything, okay, try to plan a little bit just to have the mission slightly more exciting, slightly more polished. And then every single time I start the stream, everything goes wrong. Like, literally everything just fails. I guess it's just the rule of streaming. Like, you just can't have it go perfectly all the time. So like I was saying, MagJab here will do everything completely automatically for us. We don't have to like press anything. What I will be doing is just physics, general physics time warp, just to not wait forever. Okay, let's go do that. If you're using time warp when you're doing MagJab maneuvers, just make sure that you stop the time warp before the maneuver is finished. It'll just slightly improve your accuracy. It's fine to do that, to time warp when you're doing the actual maneuver. That's not gonna have a very high effect on the accuracy, but once you're getting to that end of maneuver, you definitely want a little bit of like extra accuracy. So anyway, it has set us to a maneuver. Unfortunately, the maneuvers are imprecise by their nature, and as you can see, because it was aiming for the center of Minimus, however, the maneuver is not perfect, we still have like a little bit of an accuracy here. So we're not actually going to collide with the planet. The thing is that I kind of want to do that. Well, almost. I want to go to a very low orbit. And the way I'm going to finish this maneuver is I'm going to go into docking mode. I'm going to set precise controls. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of RCS here to just lower my periapsis pretty much as low as possible. Like we can go to 15 kilometers, maybe even lower than that. Yeah, I think 10 is good enough. And that's how you can set the a very nice profile there. Alright, let's create another maneuver here to circularize. Again, you can do that automatically with MagJab. The reason why I'm not going to do it automatically right now is because we do have a bunch of these polar satellites in orbit, and sometimes they lose connection. And even though I've specifically said, dear Kerbalism, please do not tell me, do not stop time warp when I lose connections. It still stops it. There's like a weird bug going on there. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do except for just continuing to time warp. So I'm gonna set MagJab to execute maneuver node, not because I want it to execute the maneuver node per se, but primarily because I just want to auto time warp, because MagJab will automatically time warp, and that's gonna come in handy to just continue time warping when we will have those pauses because something lost connection to something. I actually have like no clue who even thought that it's a good idea to prompt you when the connection is lost, because like it doesn't prompt you when the connection is about to be lost. No, it's like when it's actually already lost, and in most cases there's like literally nothing you gotta be doing about that, so like why bother in the first place? Also, when you're time warping, sometimes it'll lose connection. As you can see, our polar satellites, they're losing the connection and it's stopping the time warp. Unfortunately, like I said, there's nothing I can do to prevent that. I've been fiddling around with settings for quite some time and just would not stop doing that. But those polar satellites are temporary. They're like research satellites, which we launched in actually pretty much the previous episodes. We will just shut them down at some point. so that they won't be that annoying anymore. Alright, so yeah, as you can see, it's stopping the time warp pretty much all the time here, which is really annoying, and that's the reason why I want MagJeb to auto time warp, because it just makes it easier to plow through all of this. And it can also execute the maneuver itself, like that's fine. Okay, so like I was saying, it'll circularize us into a nice low orbit around Minmus, which is definitely very welcome. Okay, that approach speed was kind of worrisome a little bit. Okay, so it'll stop the time warp here, it'll line it up, and it'll completely automatically perform the maneuver for us, which is, again, is like really cool. So once the maneuver here is done, I'm actually not gonna go for landing immediately. What I want to do is I want to also set our inclination to 0, because we are at a slightly tilted orbit here. It's not gonna make too much difference, but it's still nice to have like 0 inclination, because it'll make the docking procedures and everything just ever so slightly simpler. So again, gonna select to change our inclination. Where is it? Can't find it. Still can't find it. Am I blind or something like? We definitely should have like an inclination. Oh yeah, there it is. So I'm gonna set it to new inclination, gonna select the nearest equatorial nodes because it doesn't really matter. Create and execute, and again, it'll just align us with the horizontal like orbit here, so that we won't be going up and down, which is definitely nice. And then we're just gonna go and visit absolutely every single biome that we possibly can. It'll take some time, but it'll give us a lot of signs. The unfortunate part is that it'll give us a lot of signs, but then we'll have to do the same thing again when we will research like seismometers. So yeah, it's not the first time we're visiting every single biome in Minmus. Yeah, we're gonna be visiting a lot of biomes. Alright, it'll do the burn here. Like I said, we have high engine quality on all of the upper stage engines here, so I'm not really too worried about the ignitions count. But let's point ourselves to retrograde here, and we will detach shortly here. I just want to line it up a little bit. Okay, lined it up, and we can go for a separation. Yoink! And it has shot off very aggressively there. I did not think it's gonna be that violent. We should still have like a connection to the spacecraft here. Just like our fuel engine assembly. I'm still gonna point it to retrogrades. Luckily, because we still have a connection, I can just go ahead, like extend solar panels, do that kind of stuff, which is definitely very welcome. And for our main vehicle here, we can just go for landing here. It doesn't really matter where we land. Yeah, let's go land somewhere here, I think. Just on these flats. I'm not sure which flats these are. I will be opening the biome map for Minmus, just to make it slightly easier to visit every single one of them, because it is kind of annoying to go and do that manually. Okay, let's just set ourselves for a nice landing somewhere there. Somewhere on these flats. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And now let's just set to surface velocity minus, and we'll time warp. I will be saving here aggressively because near Minmus it's very easy to time warp too hard and just lose lose control of your spacecraft. Actually, I think I burned a little too hard. Let's slow down here a little bit. I didn't account for like the planet's rotation. I mean, we can use trajectories here to show us the fixed body landing zone. It's definitely going to be nicer if we can see where we are going to land. Okay, let's just line it up slightly better. Okay, yeah, that's looking pretty good. And on we go with the landing. I will be making a lot of suicide burns here, although I will start the engine slightly earlier, because in case it fails, I just want to have that little bit of extra time to correct for it with the Ant engines. But once it's started, there's like very little chance that something will go wrong, and we can just slow down with our primary engine here. Okay, so let's do just that. Okay. Yeah, the descending here is going to be very, very standard, and I'm not going to comment too much on it because, I mean, there's like not a lot that I can talk about. It's like super simple, super standard, and let's see what biome we are in. Oh, it's the Great Flats. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm gonna fold the solar panels for now, just so it makes it easier for Bill here to go on a little bit of EVA. And let's start to build our first base. Damn, look at... I really like these, like, green clouds on the horizon. They really, really adds a little bit of atmosphere there. Oh, sort of atmosphere. Alright, so let's start doing our surface sample here. We also need to plant a flag via a contract that we have. Alright, let's plant a flag. Just some name, doesn't matter what it is. Okay, and let's start setting up our like research base here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just try to do this. 1 second. Okay, this is a little annoying. How do I set it up? Okay, I can take the solar panel. Great. And all right, let's set it up. So what I need is to go to inventory. I need to press this little button, and that'll allow me to place it somewhere here. Doesn't really matter where, as long as it's like not too far away. And let's take the everything else and also place it somewhere here. Okay, so this is going to be our control station here. All right. Then we will also place our like science thing. The monitor here. Look at that. So we need 2 power. We already have like 3 power available. And we have 1 experiment here connected. We don't have like a connection for now, unfortunately, to the DSN. But it'll start collecting science, and then it'll transmit it. We don't really have to watch it. It'll do that in the background. What I do want is to place another solar panel, not because we really need to do it, but because it's just, well, I brought 2 of them just in case. Okay, let's place another one somewhere here. Deploy it, and let's, well, I don't think that we need to do EVA experiments here. I think we've already done them. I placed them there just in case, but like we really don't need to do that. So with that out of the way, that's kind of it for this mission right here. I think, yeah, we've taken the surface sample, we did everything that we needed. I also want to make sure that we will finish all of our like EVA reports, telemetry reports. Yeah, gotta start the telemetry report there. It'll take some time to finish those. Yeah, it's definitely worth to do this, because it'll just give us a lot of science. Also, let's deploy our solar panels to get some more electricity while we still can. All right. I'm just gonna be time warping through this. There's not like a lot to talk about here. It's just really, really standard stuff. Okay, let's actually use like bigger time warp, non-physics time warp. Okay, so that has been completed. That's very nice. Let's actually go for another jump here. So we are in Great Flats. Is that correct? Let me just check it again. Okay, so we are in Great Flats, and unfortunately I can't see this right now because I haven't set it up. But if we are in Great Flats, if we go, I think it's east. No, it's west. If we go west, we can see the Lesser Flats somewhere there, or we could actually go a little bit east. There should be like this mountain here, but the thing is, I don't really want to land on like the dark side. I want to go like to the sunny, nice, pleasant side. So I think we'll just jump somewhere there. Like this place looks really, really good because we've got the smaller flats right here, and we also got what I think are just lesser flats. So we've got flats here and lesser flats there, and I think we can just go jump right there. Okay, so let's line it up a little bit. Can I turn like that? Do I have the power? I think I do. I think I do. Okay. Okay, let me just continue turning here. Okay. And on we go. Let's start the engine here. And we'll just make several of these jumps. Now I want to go slightly north, because I think we have to go a little bit to the north. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna retract gear because it's just easy to forget about it. And definitely don't want to do that. Okay, let's line it up here a little bit. Yeah, that looks good enough. Okay. Alright, you know what? Let's hide the solar panels. We have a lot of electricity. We don't really have to worry about that. Let's just set it to surface velocity minus. Let's time warp here with our little jump. And I think we'll land somewhere on the flats here. And there's going to be 3 biomes that we're going to visit. We're going to visit the flats. We're going to visit the slopes. Also, yeah, we need to visit like different flats. We need to visit slopes. We need to visit highlands. We don't really need to visit the midlands because we've already done that in our first landing mission. We landed on the midlands, so we don't have to visit those anymore. Okay, let's start the engine a little early here just to make sure that it's running. Everything's good. Okay, and on we go with the time warp. Let's do a nice landing. I want a nice, beautiful landing. Just very, very accurate. All right, that's looking really good. That's looking really good. Let's kill some speed here, and yeah, we have landed. And where have we landed? So it is lesser flats here, which is perfect, which is exactly where we wanted to go. And from there, we'll do like a little jump somewhere there, I think, which should give us lowlands. But for now, we also need to take the surface sample. Now, luckily, our build here doesn't actually need to go down. He can do the surface sample from the ladder somehow. I don't know. He probably has like very long arms or something like that. Should be able to complete that. And yeah, we will have to do a bunch of these small jumps. It's gonna be a little boring, but we just have to plow through that. I originally thought to do them in like a separate video where I would be doing that, you know, just like by myself. Oh, actually, I forgot to change the IVA. Yeah, let's select the cool and nice IVA here for our cockpits. Yeah, that's much better. That's much more like it. Alright. Actually, you know what? Let's lock the staging here. Oh, no. Let's do the following. I'm gonna start the other engines here. I'm gonna shut down this engine here. And I now have, like, the action group 2 to switch between different engines, which is very, very nice. Alright. So let's finish our crew report there. It'll take a little bit to complete that. Like 2 minutes. So we'll just time warp through that. And now let's fold solar panels here, and let's go for somewhere there, towards those flats right there. Okay, let's start the engine here. And on we go with our little jumps. Gonna be jumping quite a lot. Yeah, I should probably have named this stream like jumping on Minmus or something like that, because that's exactly what we're doing here. Alright, let's kill the engine here. I think it's good enough. Not really bothered where exactly we land, like, as long as we land safely, it doesn't really matter. Okay. You know what, let's correct our course here a little bit. Okay, set it to surface minus. And yeah, let's land on this little hill we have. Also, we do need to take Minmus Rock. I'm glad that I remembered about it when I saw one. You can already see one. So we'll have to take it and bring it back to Kerbin, which will give us like 90 signs, I think. Quite a lot, actually. Okay, let's stabilize here. And our bill here will go on another spacewalk to get the surface sample, but primarily to get the rock. Definitely want the surface sample, definitely want the rock. Okay, so in case you don't know, if you have the expansions for Kerbal Space Program, the way you take these rocks is you just EVA somewhere towards them. You basically put yourself right on top of them. And you don't click the rock itself, like that's not gonna do anything. You have to open the menu for your Kerbal, and then you have to click the button to pick up the green sandstone. It will do some stuff to take hits, and then you'll get the thing. You press keep experiments, and then the rock will magically disappear. Okay, let's go back to our spacecraft here. Okay, so we have visited Lowlands here. Okay, Lowlands check. Yeah, because we want to visit every single biome, this mission will take actually quite some time. But I mean, we're not in too much of a hurry here. I mean, we can take our time. We have all the resources that we could possibly need. We have like a lot of resources by ourselves, and we also have like a refueling tanker in orbit, which is very welcome. Okay, let's finish the EVA report and surface sample here. And then we'll go inside and time warp harder to finish the crew reports. This mission will give us absolutely insane amounts of science. Okay, let's time warp through our EVA reports. That has been finished. And let's go towards those little flats right there. And we also need to visit slopes. Now, slopes are kind of hard to visit because they are slopes. So I'm actually like not very sure where's the best way to do that. I think, well, we have like a slope right there, but I think it's just a little too steep. So it's just gonna be hard to land with the vessel itself. We could not land with the vessel, just go on EVA. Oh, look at that Kerbin. That is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, like I was saying, we can probably just do that with a Kerbal and not do that with the vessel itself. And that's going to be fine for what we're trying to do here. Okay, let's jump to those flats right there. On we go. Start our engine. And make that little jump somewhere right in the middle. Okay. Hi, like your videos. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And thank you for joining the stream. This really means a lot to me because like I don't have a lot of viewers on streams. So every single one of you is like I can actually see like as soon as every single one of you enters the stream, like I just see that instantaneously. All right, let's start the engine here. Descent. Carefully, not too hard. Okay, something like that. Okay, let's switch to kill rotation and do a butter smooth landing. Well, almost. All right, dear Bill, would you please mind going and doing a surface sample report? I mean, we could probably have Jebediah do that as well at some point. Because, I mean, probably going to get bored if he's not doing EVA walks. But the thing is, he's also the pilot, so it just kind of makes sense for him to stay in the vessel itself. Alright, let's board here, and I'll send Bill straight away, and let's go try to visit those slopes right there. Okay. Let's jump. Husha! And on we go to visit the slopes. I probably should have left the parachute, because I'm definitely not going to need it on Mimus. And that's extra weight. That's like 4 kilograms of weight. Which is not a lot. Like, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot for a Kerbal. Okay, let's go for a nice landing right there, somewhere on the slopes. Just gonna time warp, but not too hard. Actually, you know what? Let's save the game here. I think we should definitely do save here. All right. Now I do want to slow down. I think a little bit here. I've actually found it easier to estimate where you will land if you're just time warping ×4, because it just makes the movements more pronounced, and it's actually sometimes easier to tell where exactly you will land. So this is definitely something that you could use for your own missions. All right, let's land here. Touchdown. Okay, yeah, that's looking pretty good. And it still says that it's lowlands. Not entirely sure how is this lowlands and not slopes, because I mean, these are some serious slopes. Okay, that's kind of worrying a little bit. What's our EVA fuel? It's like 3.6. I mean, we could probably fly for a little longer, like in this direction maybe, so we can still find them, hopefully. I mean, shouldn't there be like a biome between lowlands and midlands, which are the slopes, no? Or am I like mad or something? Okay, let's time warp here a little bit. Just careful with our EV fuel to not use it. Oh yeah, okay, we're in the slopes. We finally found our slopes here. So let's go for a landing here. Careful, careful, careful. Not to topple over. Okay, and yeah, let's go finish our surface sample report. Are you using a biome map? Yes, I am using a biome map that I have opened on the laptop right there, which is also where I'm looking at the stream. That's a little cheating, I guess, theoretically, but it's also like really, really hard to find these biomes because sometimes you'd land where it's definitely a slope, but it's still not a slope because, you know, technically not every slope is a biome slope or something like that. Okay, let's go back to our Utilis there. Actually, gonna time warp here quite aggressively. We do have to be careful because we have used up more than half of our monoprop. We are descending, so it should be easier. Should not use that much fuel, but still, we have to be a little careful here. Okay, there was a little lag because the vessel was loading. And let's go for a nice landing here. I mean, worst case scenario, he can just walk on foot, as long as we don't, like, crash or something like that. Okay. But I mean, the problem with like walking on foot is that he doesn't have like infinite electric charge nor oxygen. So that's kind of scary. I was actually like on one of the missions was when I was playing just by myself. I actually got stuck in one, and I had to like run like 3 to 4 kilometers over like some mountains with like 2 hours of oxygen that I had left. It's kind of scary actually, especially if you do that in first person. Like, it actually makes you just feel quite scared. Okay, so that was it, kind of. Yeah, the crew report here has been finished. Let's save the game here quickly. And let's go see what other biomes can we visit. I mean, we could just go for the highlands and then the greater flats. Yeah, I mean, just can continue in the same direction we were already going. And go visit that stuff. Okay, so we have recharged our batteries here. Well, almost. Okay, let's line it up, and we'll go like equatorial-ish, somewhere like in that direction. Okay, let's fold our solar panels here, and let's go for it. Okay. Now, because this jump is going to be quite aggressive, I'm going to go pretty much almost all the way to orbit. Yeah, I'm going to have to jump quite far here. I'm not actually sure where exactly, which is why I will go for like an orbit-ish, almost. Okay, yeah, that's looking good enough. Yeah, I think I overshot a little bit. Alright, but that gives me a little bit of time to just make sure that we're gonna land where we want to. Alright, so I think we should land on like this mountain right here, and that should be... Yeah, that should be the highlands that we have to visit. So let's just make minor corrections here. Because we're going to be using minor correction, I'm going to actually switch to ant engines here, because they're like not that powerful. Yeah. Like I also think that using biomap is like not really cheating. I mean, technically you can find biomes by like using a rover, and that's like the way you should be doing it. So you launch a rover and you just go and you visit and you find out biomes that way. Or you could use like research satellites. Definitely possible. Like survey sats. But I mean, well, using survey satellites is just kind of boring. Well, it's not really boring per se, it's just annoying to use with our current tech level. Okay, so let's do a little burn here with our ant engines and just kind of change our trajectory a little bit. Somewhere there towards our highlands, which should be somewhere there. And I think we can also just retro burn here a little bit, just a little bit, because we obviously don't need to land that far. Just bring it down. Yeah, I think we need to land somewhere here. So let's go for that. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And yeah, we'll just land somewhere here-ish. Maybe just a little bit like to the north. No, that's not it. That's the wrong direction. Yeah, to the north. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's looking good. All right, let's switch to our primary engine here. Let's deploy the solar panels, and on we go. Just gonna save here because we are gonna be time warping quite aggressively here. And yeah, let's go land somewhere here on these highlands, which are hopefully highlands. Hopefully I'm not going to be bamboozled again, because it's like really hard to find highlands. They're like very rare. And not every mountain is highlands. Like, you'd be surprised just how many times I was landing and like, no, that's not highlands, I'm sorry. But I think this should be it. Okay, let me just resume flight here. Actually, Bill here could go on a bit of an EVA walk, and we can just view... Yeah, look at that. It's still Midlands, which is a little annoying. Because you'd think these are highlands, but no, they're not. Actually, you know what? Let's keep him outside there for a little bit. And just go higher a little bit. Maybe we missed them. Or maybe we haven't. Like, it's just so hard to tell. Okay, are these highlands? No, they're not. They're still not highlands. God damn it, so annoying. So annoying to find them. Because you'd think this is like really, really high and these should be highlands, but like, no, they're not. These are slopes. Okay, you know what? Let's burn for it because I think we've missed them. I think we should go a little to the north, maybe. If I can find them quickly here, I'll probably land just somewhere and then view the map a little bit more. Yeah, we'll probably have to go for a refuel soon here. I mean, other than the highlands, there's like not much we have to visit still. Okay, these are still midlands. All of these are midlands, which is like really annoying. Okay, let me go to map view again and just try to find them. Okay, so we are north of these. Oh, I think I know what's the case. I think they're just way further there. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, there's no highlands in this region, I feel like. That's flippin' unfortunate. Yeah, there's like no highlands in this region, which means that we will have to go there, like even further. God damn it. Alright. Okay, let's go for it in that case. Okay, we do have not a lot of fuel left though, so we have to be a little careful. I'm just gonna make this one final jump here. Okay, let's give another shot at trying to find the highlands. I think they should be somewhere there-ish. And if those are not highlands, then we will go for refueling. Because we don't have a lot of fuel left. Actually, we could start using monoprop because monoprop is kind of heavy. And it is reducing our overall potential. Oh, I can't time warp because we've got Bill here on the ladder. Okay, yeah, let's just time warp with Bill still on the ladder so we can just view what biome it is. A little annoying. When I did my first EV circumnavigation, I used Kerbal Engineer Redux to find the biomes I need. Yeah, that's possible. I'm okay with using a map. I don't really want to use Engineer Redux for unknown reasons. Just don't want to. Okay, yeah, I think these should be mountains. The problem here is that I can't really view squat because it's getting to nighttime. And actually, I think we should burn a little bit high. Like that. To just kind of postpone our descent here a little bit. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, these are all still midlands. God damn it. Yeah, highlands are just so annoying to find. It's like, it's so easy to land on midlands and flats, but like, highlands are just like non-existent, basically. I mean, if I can't find them soon, I'd probably just go refuel. Just be done with it. I mean, that mountain just has to be highlands, right? That just has to be highlands, right? There's no way it's not highlands. Otherwise, I'm just... Sometimes just want to quit when searching for these biomes. It's just so annoying. How much fuel do we have left, by the way? I don't think we have a lot. Okay. Are any of these highlands? Yes, no, maybe. I mean, these have to be, like, these mountains here, just they have to be. Okay, we finally found highlands. Okay, let's go for landing right here. We have 400 meters per second, which is not a lot. Definitely not a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna start using EVA fuel here a little bit to just kind of slow us down a little bit, because we don't have like a lot of fuel left. So I can just use monoprop to slow down, which should hopefully improve our overall fuel efficiency. Because carrying around all this monoprop is like not very beneficial. Okay, okay, let's start using monoprop here. Unfortunately, we're not really slowing fast enough, so let's start the engine here a little bit. Okay, yeah, that's looking pretty good. Okay, let's cut the engine. And we'll just slow down using our thruster blocks that we have. They're kind of reasonably powerful, so we can just probably land using them. I mean, we can also absorb a few meters per second of delta V with our landing legs, hopefully. Okay, yeah, that was good. That was a good landing. I'm very proud of myself. Because we still have like 286 meters per second, which should be enough to get us into orbit. Alright, dear Bill, would you please mind doing surface samples here? Yeah, these are highlands, which is very great. Unfortunately, we are in a little bit of a shadow here. What mods adds oxygen, nitrogen, food, and water to the resources? That is Kerbalism, and in case you want to see my mod list, you can view in the description. There's going to be A, link to Discord, so please go there. And B, there's going to be a link to my GitHub repo where you can find all of the mods that I use. You can find some craft files. I'm actually going to be uploading, like after this stream, I'm going to upload all of the crafts that I have been using in this mission so far. So you can just go play around with some of the designs that I've made here. You should be able to find all of those there. Alright, so finish the crew report here. Very nice. Let's go try to get into orbit. Now here's the thing. I do really want to align ourselves with the Mark III probe here that we have. So let me just line it up in the same direction, because I do want to obviously land, or rather rendezvous with it in orbit. Okay, let's go for launch here. Just gonna bring our apoapsis up. And then we'll use the RCS thrusters here to just kind of align it a little bit. Okay, let's go into this mode here. Yeah, I think we have to go slightly more horizontal here. Okay, let's do that. And start the engine once more. At this point, I'm not really going to be using the Ant engines too much, because they're not very efficient. And right now, I'm like really worried about the fuel amount that we have, because we don't really have a lot. We've got like 174 meters per second, which is not that bad, but like it's also not that great. Okay, let's set to target relative velocity minus. And we should be able to rendezvous shortly here. Actually, you know what? Let's set it to kill rotation. Okay, time warp here a little bit. Okay, start the engine about here. Just line ourselves up closer to the target. Like that. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay, so in 50 seconds, we should be able to rendezvous. And I will be using a lot of RCS fuel here to dock. Although I don't think that we actually need to worry about fuel right now, because we already have a very, very good amount of resources left. Okay. Yeah, I think we can just not worry. Alright, so unfortunately it's spinning for some reason, which is a little annoying. Has somebody watched too much Interstellar or something like that? Or it was just reorienting to retrograde. Okay, that's fine. That's good enough. Okay, let's just time warp to when we're slightly behind it. And oh shit, that was overkill. Damn it! I wanted to slow down, but I just slowed down too hard. All right, let's set the docking port here as our target, and let's switch to locked view for ease of guidance. Okay, all right. Switch to target plus, and okay, it will reorient while having a little bit of a seizure. That's not very welcome, but okay. Okay, and let's line it up. Okay, that's looking reasonably accurate. Okay. That was actually pretty quick. Okay, so yeah, we're out of nitrogen here. Unfortunately, yeah, I forgot to pack nitrogen reserves here, so our pressure in habitat will start dropping down. Which is a little unfortunate, but I mean, that mostly affects your stress factor, and because we have 2 Kerbals, because we have communication back home, stress should not be that big of an issue in this particular mission. And with that out of the way, let's go try to refuel here. Hopefully we can do that. Yes, we can. Great. And I'm just gonna take all of the fuel. Probably don't need all of it, because we only have like a select number of biomes to visit. But I can take all of it, so I'm gonna take all of it. That's my motivation right there. I think that's very fair. Okay. Alright, so we've taken all of our fuel. Let's also refuel our monoprop reserves here a little bit. Not that we really need them too much, but it's still nice to have. Just a little bit extra. Okay. I'm not actually gonna refuel all of it, just a little bit, just to keep us going for slightly more. Okay, and yeah, I think that's kind of it. Thank you very much. Undock. Oh, whoa, why is it doing that? That's kind of annoying. Please don't do that anymore. All right, and now we have to land somewhere there, I think. Unfortunately, that's on the dark side. I'm like not really keen on landing on the dark side too much. Damn it. Okay, what biomes else do we have to visit? Let me just check. So we have visited the Lesser Flats, we have visited the Great Flats, we need to visit the Greater Flats, which are perfectly on the dark side there. All right. You know what? Let's time warp there a little bit. Okay. What's our orbit, by the way, here? We are. I do want to make a small burn near the periapsis here, just kind of bring us into slightly lower orbit. Okay, let's set to retrograde. Just do a tiny little maneuver here. Nothing much. Just to bring our apoapsis down a little bit. Also, I think we should service our engine here shortly. You know what? Let's do it right now. Okay, reliability, inspect engine, service engine. Okay. Okay, it was it actually said to us that it was about to fail at any moment, so I guess that's a good thing that we have serviced it. All right, and yeah, let's just continue time warping here. Just see what we can find. We can also keep an eye out on monoliths, and I think I actually see one right now. Not entirely sure. That looks like a monolith. It could be a monolith. No, that's just a rock. Never mind. It's actually beneficial. Like, do we have a camera installed? No, I forgot to install a camera. If we had cameras, it's just gonna be easier to find them because we can zoom in with the camera. That would have been kind of cool. All right, let's continue going forward here. Just keep an eye out on any monoliths. Because if we find a monolith, there's a chance that we're going to find the green monolith. And that's going to give us a bunch of science. And I think I see one. I think I can see one right there. Not entirely sure. Damn it, it's kind of hard. I think I'm definitely sure it's not going to be visible on stream. But I do have a feeling that, like, there's one right there. Somewhere right there. Okay. You know what? Let's try to descend here. And if it is going to be a monolith, that's going to be great. Okay. Do we have it somewhere here? I think I can see it. Please tell me that's not going to be a rock. Please tell me that's not going to be a rock. And yeah, it's the monolith. Okay, the question is, like, is it a good monolith or is it just a regular monolith? So if you don't know, case being 1.12, I think they've added these green monoliths. And if you get close to them, they will give you science points. Like, normal monoliths don't do anything, pretty much. Green monoliths gives you science points, which is definitely what we need right now. Okay, let's time warp here a little bit. Not entirely sure right now. Let's get a little closer to it. Oh, I think it's a green one. I think it's a green one. Oh my god, is it a green one? Okay, let's switch to main engine here. Slow down. Oh yeah, it's a green one. Look at that. We have found a green monolith. That is really, really cool. Okay, so I think we have to just get closer to it right now. And we should get science, maybe? I'm not actually very sure how to interface with it. I know that we have to get close to it, but I haven't actually been searching for them, really. It's like I said, like, let's go watch out for monoliths, and like I actually stumbled into one of them. Oh, look at that! We got the message in World First Milestones. Okay, World First Milestones, we have discovered a very strange monolith. I Mimes, our labs are abuzz with scientists analyzing every aspect of it, and we've researched advanced exploration for free. And I think advanced exploration is like worth 160 science points. So just finding this thing is like really, really cool. Obviously, like if you know there's a green monolith, you can like not search for it specifically. Like you can just find one, but not get close to it, and only get that science points once you're like later into the tech tree, because it gives you like one random science node, and it like doesn't matter how much it costs. It can just give you a science points. Like it can give you a node that's worth like 5 science points. It can give you one that's worth like 5,000. Like it just really doesn't matter. So you can just sometimes specifically not get close to them. But I think that we definitely want all of the science points for now. So I think that's actually fine. Okay. Let's go back, and let's go back to orbits, maybe searching for another one. I'm not actually sure how many spawn on Minimus. The position is random in every single game, so you have to, like, really search for them. That can be done with, like, anomaly detectors, which is, like, the whole curb net thing that you can do. It's just that you have to, like, really look out for them. Okay, let's switch to our main engine and let's go back to orbit-ish. Okay, we still have to search for the greatest flats. We still have to find them. Okay, yeah, I think we have to, like, yeah, greater flats, which are the biggest flats. We have to land somewhere there. And that should conclude all of our research. We could also go to the poles. Yeah, yeah, unfortunately that's not going to be the end of it. We also will have to go to poles. But I mean, going to poles is, like, really easy. Luckily, finding poles is surprisingly easy, because you just look for some, like, looks like a pole of a planet, and that's kind of it. Okay. Let's time warp here a little bit. And we should see them somewhere here. Oh, yeah, I think these are the big fat flats. Yeah, I think these are what we're looking for. Oh, no, wait. These are the great flats. These are not the big ones. I mean, these are relatively big, but I can just see our flag here that we've planted, so it's not what we're looking for. Alright, let's actually bring ourselves in a little bit more into orbit here. Okay. On we go searching for them. So they should be a little further there. Okay, this, by the way, should be a mountain right there. But we've already found our mountains. Okay, these are another lesser flats. And we should have... Yeah, these are the big flats. Okay, they're kind of hard to mistake if you've seen them at least once. They are absolutely huge. Okay, let's start the engine here a little bit. I can't see anything in map view, unfortunately. So we'll just have to eyeball it. But, I mean, they're kind of easy to get close to. Okay, let's save the game here, by the way. Just in case I messed something up with time warp. Okay, so it says impact in 100 seconds. Okay. Let's start the engine here just to make sure that it's running fine. Okay, let's slow down here a little bit. And on we go with our descent here. It's kind of hard to see the surface because, I mean, it's nighttime, so it's just really hard to view anything in general. Okay, so I'm just using the radar altimeter here quite aggressively. Just trying to find a nice landing spot. Okay, let's just touch down here. Oh, yeah, we're already there. I mean, it's just hard to tell where the surface is. Like, it could be 100 meters below you, it could be like 10 meters below you. It's just really hard to view during nighttime because there's, like, not a lot of surface features that you can just look out for. Which is actually a really big problem for automated landings. In case you don't know, we're doing a bunch of new missions to Mon right now, like we as humans. And some of these missions focus on automated landings. And the problem with automated landings, like, they're using computer vision and all that kind of stuff. The problem is that it's really, really hard to estimate the size of surface features. So you can just see a rock, but it's really, really hard to tell. Is that a big rock? Is it like 1 meter or is like 10 meters? Obviously, you can use like radars to tell the difference, like how big rocks are. You can tell like how close you are to the ground. But if you want to really like accurately tell where should you land, the way that they do it in Mon missions right now, is they have these recon satellites that orbit in a polar orbit of mine. And what they do is they take these super high resolutions of the surface, and because we know the exact position of the satellite, we know the exact like angles of the camera. When they take that screenshot, we know exactly where that region is. We know exactly what altitude it is because we can use like laser rangefinders, radar rangefinders. And so they literally start. There's like a database of like large rocks on the surface of mine, and then what they can do is they can just search for those specific landmarks. And there's like this huge database of like thousands of these rocks, which all have like different shapes, and we see them from like different angles. And so they just pile up this database, and that's how they're going to be doing automated launches, which is really, really cool. Okay, a little bit of science fact for me. Okay, so we finished the crew report here. Finished everything, and I think one final thing that we have to do is to just go visit the poles. I think we can go to the North Pole for no apparent reason, other than it's just the North Pole. Okay, yeah, let's tilt, and on we go towards the North Pole. Okay. I'm actually gonna have to correct a little bit for the horizontal velocity because we are launching near the equator, so I'll have to just slightly correct for that if we want to actually end up near the pole. And on we go. Okay. This is looking like really good in terms of like the mission overall. It's looking pretty solid. And let's just set a landing spot somewhere there. Yeah, that's looking good enough. And now we'll just time warp here once we're closer to the poles. I think we'll just put Bill on the ladder, and we'll just watch out when he'll say us that we're flying over the poles. Something like that. Okay. Dear Bill. Okay, so we're near Midlands so far. I'm just gonna time warp here. And that should give us a nice landing near the poles. Oh, look at that. We're already at poles. Okay, yeah, let's just go for a landing somewhere here. Okay. Surface velocity minus. I'm actually not gonna use surface here because it's kind of dangerous to use near poles. Because, I mean, it kind of changes a little bit. The azimuth changes a lot near the poles. And let's go for landing here. Okay, let's time warp a bit more aggressively. Let's save the game just in case. Because time warps near Minmus are kind of scary to do. And look at that. Camera is having a seizure, which means that we have just passed the poles. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's aim for surface velocity minus. I think it's fine. Okay. I want a nice smooth landing, and I shut down the engine. Oops. Oopsie daisy. All right. Let's use the ant engines here for like finer control. Okay, let's set to kill rotation here. Just a nice, smooth landing. Damn it, we're going up. Okay, yeah. The Eagle has landed. Let's deploy the solar panels here, because we are like at 60-ish% battery capacity. And dear Bill, would you please go once more? Actually, no, let's send Jebediah this time. Like, I think poor Jebediah is just sitting there like, can I go as well? Like, I exist. Can I go, please? I want to do this as well. Let me just spill a drink here. All right. Okay, so we do have that lovely Kerbin out there. Damn it, I really like these, like, small clouds that they have, like, near Minmus. There's, like, Scatterer from the Scatterer mod. They, like, look really, really cool. Also, Kerbin is absolutely beautiful there. I wonder if we can see Mon. Where is it? Yeah, it should be somewhere there. Oh, it's just it's black right now. It's like it's on the dark side, so we probably won't be able to see that. We can see Jewel there. We can see Eve. We're gonna be making a bunch of missions to Eve. We can see Duna there. Damn it, I want to go to Duna. I love Duna. It's just so cool. All right. So let's finish our crew report here. Oh, it has already finished. Oh, it's just this weird bug that we have. Like, it's still saying that we're running it even though we have already completed it. Okay, I think we can just go for it. Yeah, I think we can just go somewhere, like, towards the sun, and we should be able to escape the sphere of influence roughly where we need to. Okay, let's switch to primary engine here, and off we go. Back to Kerbin. And we have a bunch of fuel left. We could theoretically, like, dock with the tanker and leave our fuel there, but I honestly can't be bothered too much. Because it's just kind of annoying. It just increases the overall mission length. Oh my god! Jesus. Poor trajectories there had a seizure. Okay, yeah, let's just continue burning in that direction. We should burn until our periapsis is roughly, like, roughly near zero-ish. Yeah, okay, you know what, this is fine. I mean, we have a lot of fuel, so I'm probably use that to just get back quicker, if I can. Okay, let's start time warping here. Okay. Okay, now we're in this high elliptical orbit around Minmus. I think we can just point to radial in and just use the rest of the fuel that we have to just bring the periapsis to below 70 kilometers, so we can just have a nice landing here. Can I? Okay, yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now here's the thing: we could try to go for, like, a guided landing. We could try to land, like, near the mission control. The problem is, like, the spacecraft is, like, really not rated to survive the descent. I mean, the crew capsule is obviously is rated, but, like, the rest of it is, like, not really. So I think it's just beneficial for us to just ignore that and just land wherever possible. Let's save the game here because we're going to be time warping hard, and let's go for it. Yeah, unfortunately right now the stupid polar satellites will be an annoyance, constantly losing connection here. So yeah, that's going to be annoying. Oh wait. Oh my god. Surface velocity minus, deploy. Jesus Christ. Like, I knew it was going to happen, like, an accidentally over time warp a little bit too hard. God damn it. Yeah, and the problem is that we're actually kind of a little too low, or rather too high right now. We haven't decelerated enough. God damn it. I took the periapsis. Okay, what's our trajectory looking right now? Yeah, okay, you know what, I'm gonna load the save here. That's why I do them, because it's, like, very easy to over time warp. Normally, like, I try to not, like, if a mission fails, I don't really I don't really use the saving functionality too hard. I don't want to abuse it. But sometimes it's just easier to use these time warps more aggressively. There's a slight risk of like over time warping, but I just don't want to wait for literally ever. And damn it, I missed it again. God damn it. Okay, let's open it up again. Yeah, the problem why I'm not like time warping slow speeds is because it will just literally take forever. Oh wait, I loaded the wrong save file. God damn it. I'm sorry. We have minor technical issues here. just a little bit of time warp issues. Okay. Let's load save. I need the quick save. This one. Quick save number 41. Okay. Fine. Let's not time warp too hard this time. Let's try to be reasonable about it. Once we get to lower altitude, I will retro burn a little bit just to make the descent slightly less aggressive. But look at that. Mon here is doing a bit of an eclipse. That's looking pretty solid, actually. That's looking pretty cool. Okay, let's set to surface minus, and let's time warp from... Damn it, where's Kerbin? Okay, there it is. Oh, look at that! We've got some polar auroras there. Okay, let's time warp from here. Like I said, I will use a little bit of fuel here to slow down. Just to make the descent profile slightly less aggressive. Okay. Just like that. We'll just use the rest of our fuel here to decelerate. Okay, let's detach. Can I please get detachment going? Okay, thank you very much. All right, let's go for landing here. Actually, I want to save here again, just in case we screw the landing for no apparent reason. As you can see, we are decelerating quite aggressively here. It shouldn't be like too hard, unlike the space pods, but still. Want to be a little bit extra safe. Also, let's set the deployment altitude to for the main parachutes to slightly lower. And the drogue chutes also can be deployed slightly later. Because the pod is very light, we don't really need to worry too much about it. Okay, and for this mission, we have already transmitted 469 points. That is like before we even count in all of the surface samples that we have gathered, before we factor in the rock that we brought with us. We have already got like 469 science points, which is like a lot at this stage. Very nice. Stop the time warp before we hit the surface. And that's it. Recover vessel. Great. Very good. I'm really, really happy. Alright, let's see our total for this mission. So we've got 469 points transmitted. We also got 528 science points credit for all the surface samples that we got. We also got a little bit of 90 extra science points from the sandstone analysis, and just a little bit more from like returning from the surface of Minimus. Oh my god, we have 1,307 science points, which is a little insane. Because, I mean, most of the research notes that we have, they cost like 300. And we can take like 4 of these, like, high science point notes. Damn it, okay, we have to think a little bit. And we also got, oh my god, we also got advanced exploration research from the green monolith, which is insane. Alright, so I definitely want to research scanning tech, because that'll give us the survey scanner, which is kind of cool. But primarily it's because I want to start transitioning more to reusable rockets, but reusable rockets are just kind of hard to do in KSP because you have to use physics range extenders for that. Like, the way most YouTubers film them is they just launch them like multiple times, and they like film every single part like independently of each other. They don't do that all at the same time. What can be done relatively easily are various spaceplane designs, like that kind of SSTO. And we can definitely do that, which is going to be really cool. The problem is that we have to like research a lot of aviation. We have to get to at least supersonic flight if we want to get there. Like supersonic flights is like the minimum. Aerodynamics, yeah, it doesn't have like reasonable high speed engines, atmosphere engines. Like the Panther here is like the minimum you need to like really make SSTOs possible. I mean, you obviously can do that like at aviation if you just pack enough fuel, but that's not really proper SSTO. It's not going to be able to like really bring stuff into orbit. It's not going to be able to do refueling missions. So what we have to do is we have to research scan tech here, because it will give us a lab experiment, and we really want that. Because currently we're not launching our space station because we didn't have any experiments for the lab. And also it'll give us the this thing, which will allow us to do a bunch of research in atmosphere. When we're going to be designing our space plane, we first will do just general missions with flying, and we can research that. So let's go ahead, research this node. It's definitely kind of cool. And I think we can also, I really want to research unmanned tech here, because it'll give us MegChap for ascent, which is really, really cool. I did a fully stocked 2-stage reusable rocket without mods, but the payload could only be like 2,000 kilograms. Yeah, that's also the problem. Like, I mean, no, 2-stage rockets, yeah, like you can do even SSTOs, which are like rocket style SSTOs. I'm actually planning to make a video on SSTOs, like that should be my next video. And there's like a lot of talk about what counts as an SSTO, what doesn't, because when you say SSTO, it technically means that it's just a single stage to orbit. It doesn't say which orbit it is. It doesn't say what you do with that stage when you get to orbit. It's just a single stage to orbit, which means that, name a few examples of real-life SSTOs. Well, there are like not a lot of proper SSTOs, which are like spaceplanes designs, and all of the SpaceX style stuff is like also not really SSTOs. They're like 2-stage to orbit. Yes, they're reusable 2-stage to orbit, but they're 2-stage to orbit. And like the only example of real-life SSTO that we have is the Apollo Ascent module. Like the lunar module, when it descended, it used a single stage for descending, but when it was flying from the surface of Mun, it used exactly one stage. There's like the ascent module itself. So technically, it counts as an SSTO because it got into orbit of Mun with a single stage. And the problem with that is that when most people say SSTOs, they don't really talk about that kind of stuff. They talk about like, space plane designs, like reusable stuff. But that's not what SSTO actually means. Yeah, so lunar module, like the ascent stage of it, is technically world's first SSTO. Would you look at that? Also, like the orbit definition is kind of hard because we do have like a bunch of probes that have flown to like there's this one, I don't remember the name of it, but there's like this one probe. I'm not even sure that it has completed its mission, but like which will just land on an asteroid and then get back to Earth. Technically, that's also an SSTO because, well, I mean, it will get into orbit of an asteroid, which is like not really hard. I mean, you could probably fart hard enough to get into an orbit of an asteroid, but technically, SSTO. So yeah, the definition there is kind of tricky, and I wanted to make a video about them, just explaining a bunch of stuff around that. So anyway, we could probably do. Well, I mean, we could research these 3 nodes, which are kind of cool, which will give us a bunch of like scientific equipment, or we could start transitioning more to spaceplane designs, and for that we need to research these aviation nodes. And I mean, we could also really benefit from researching heavier rocketry, advanced fuel system, and then nuclear propulsion, because that would allow us to finally go to Eve, like, in a manned mission. But there's no real point of sending a manned mission to Eve right now. We don't really have, like, proper landers there. Like, okay, we got to Eve, now what? Yeah, I think that's the name of it. I'm not entirely sure. It'll be in the video. I'll mention it because it's just a funny example of like technicalities around SSTOs when you can just. Oh, I got into an orbit of a small rock. SSTO. Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of definition stretching that can be done. So anyway. What we could also do is right now focus on like recycling storage technology and then get hydroponics, which is also very nice because it'll allow us to launch greenhouses. The problem with greenhouses is that, well, we can launch them slightly later. So I think we should actually focus on researching these nodes here, which will just make our spacecraft slightly easier to launch, especially these ones, because we should start using a bunch of hydrogen tanks on orbit to... Well, I mean, hydrogen engines are really cool in orbit. They can be used to refuel stuff very easily there. They're very efficient. They're not as efficient as nuclear engines, obviously. But the problem with... nuclear engine is, if you look at the propellant that it's using, it's LH2, which, like you guessed, is like liquid hydrogen. So you can use nuclear engines and liquid hydrogen engines together. For liquid hydrogen engines are kind of cool when you need that little bit of extra thrust. Nuclear engines are kind of cool when you need that little bit more efficiency. And you can really combine them well together. The problem is that, yeah, we're gonna need proper hydrogen tanks to do that. And one way is to start researching these nodes. It'll also make it easier to just construct rockets to launch our space stations into orbit. Or we could just not bother too much and launch space planes. The problem with space planes is that we're not going to be able to do a bunch of contracts for them. Oh, I actually completely forgot to dock 2 vessels around Minimus. I forgot about that thing. A little annoying. All right. Yeah, so the problem is like we don't really have a lot of money, and space planes are not gonna give us a lot of return in terms of money in the short term. So there's definitely a benefit of like just focusing on space stations right now. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm actually gonna hold a little bit of science for now. Just not gonna research it just yet, and we'll just see what we can do. I mean, we can definitely try researching like a specialized construction as well, because it'll allow us to use like proper docking ports, like bigger docking ports, which will make launching space stations like they'll be just slightly more stable, especially with like bigger airstream protective shells. It's also kind of cool. Yeah, you know what? Let's research this node because it'll just allow us for bigger docking ports. Unfortunately, like researching that also means that we'll have to like constantly think whether we have the compatible docking nodes, because right now we only have this like tiny little docking nodes from miniaturization, and like everything is compatible with everything. That's not going to be the case as soon as we research that thing. A little annoying. So yeah, you know what? Let's just hold for science right now. We don't have to research everything. We could try launching the Aurora and see what we can figure out with that. Okay, so our lovely Aurora here, we do have like a blueprint for it right here. It consists of like the main assembly here in the middle, which should be enough to get us like just to start the space station, and also these like huge blocks here, which will provide all of the necessary storage for all the various things. Actually, you know what? We need to remove the ammonia from these tanks because it'll be generated in flight. Yeah, so we can just focus on launching this main space station, and we do have a bunch of contracts to launch space stations, so that'll just give us a lot of money to do that. So yeah, you know what? Let's focus on that for now. Okay, I'm just gonna create this new craft from the blueprint, which is going to be the General Aurora. These arms here will be separately launched. The first launch is just going to focus on the main part here. And let's just make sure we have configured everything. So our lab experiments, we're going to take the jammed for our lab experiments because we have researched that, which is like really cool. Let's start that. Let's toggle lab. Okay. Also, we can have this thing right here. We can configure SigBay modules. We can add tranquilizing vortex. We don't really need it, but I guess it won't hurt. So we can just add it there. Yeah, and also just make sure that we have all of the shielding on this space station, because I mean shielding is kind of hard to produce in orbit. It's possible, it's just harder to do. All right, so yeah, that's gonna be the Aurora. Now we have to think about how do we get into orbit. And like I said, we do have the Hyperion here, which is a little bit funny. Like the joke is that, like, if you look into mythology, Hyperion is like the father of the Aurora. So like the joke here was that the Hyperion, like it'll launch the Aurora, and like you get it, like it's like something like that. Unfortunately, when I have created the Utilis here, the Utilis Mark III that we have here, which is the one that we launched, its lower stage is actually really cool because it can get a lot of stuff into orbit quite easily, and I really like the overall switch to liquid hydrogen engines. They're more expensive, yes, and it definitely makes more sense to recover them, but the advantage is that they're very light, and we do have like a very strict limitation on our mass. Unfortunately, we can't upgrade the launch complex yet. We don't have the money to do that. So I'm thinking, I mean, I can just slap the Hyperion B below the Aurora and it will be able to launch it, but it'll launch it like barely. And knowing that something goes wrong on the streams every single time, I'm like really scared to do that, to be honest. So I actually want to construct a similar design, but that one that's going to be using liquid hydrogen engines. And you know what? Let's go ahead and research the two nodes that'll give us the even bigger engines and even bigger like fuel tanks, which we will use for liquid hydrogen. Because I mean, we can use these specialized liquid hydrogen tanks. The advantage is that they are significantly lighter than normal tanks. They can only store liquid hydrogen and oxidizer, but they're a lot lighter, which is definitely very beneficial for us. So yeah, you know what? Let's switch to more liquid hydrogen engines, because I definitely want liquid hydrogen storage in orbit. Alright, so first things first, we definitely need, like some decoupler here. This 1.8, I think, yeah. Let's enable crossfeed here, so we can refuel the rest of the space station, if we can. Yeah, okay, what else? We could... Alright, so we could try using these like large 2.5 meter hydrogen tanks. The problem is that we don't have 1.8 meter tanks. That's a little annoying. Yeah, you know what? Let's purchase this one. They are kind of expensive, but they do make up for it with their like weight. That's definitely really, really cool. Okay. Also, I mean, we could use 1.8 meter fairing. It's definitely possible, but I think a proper 2 meter fairing is just going to be slightly beneficial for us. So let's go ahead and try to... Yeah, normally I'd like construct these rockets like off stream, but this particular time I just want to do this on a stream because it just can. Yeah, you know what? Let's research specialized construction here. Just give us a little bit more flexibility. Alright, so like I was saying, we can actually also start using like proper docking nodes here. So as you can see, I'm trying to go for like a more modular design so that we can change the space station design if we really want to later on. And I mean, we'll definitely want to change it at least a little bit. So it's definitely a nice thing to try to make the design modular. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna do the same for all of these. Just switch them to bigger ports. I mean, preferably we'd use like the really big ones, which are like specifically 1.8 or 2.5 even, but we don't have them researched. They're gonna take ages to research. I mean, they just cost a lot. So that's why I don't really want to do that just yet. Okay, let's just switch these to bigger docking ports. And I mean, we'll still have a bunch of these small docking ports here, which we will still use a little bit, just not as much as we were doing it previously. And I mean, obviously the Aurora here will last us a very long time, but I mean, at some point we'll probably construct just a better station overall, and we'll have to deorbit Aurora. It's gonna be a sad moment, but at some point it'll come to this, unfortunately. Alright, so let's add the proper fairing, and I do have to watch the overall cost, because I mean, it's gonna be a pretty damn expensive space station here. Alright, let's start building our fairing here. It's gonna be a big fat fairing. Okay, can I do like this? Yeah, like that, and finish it here. Yeah, that's gonna be the big fat fairing. Let's switch it to 2 sides. Let's... Actually, you know what? Let's not put clamshell deploy this time. Because it is really, really big. And clamshell deploy is like good for like small ones. Alright, let's finish the rest of it, I guess. So we will have these liquid hydrogen oxidizer tanks. We will enable cooling for all of them, obviously. And now it just needs a powerful enough engine to get this to orbit. Also, another cool thing that we can do is, because we've researched the advanced construction, we can also start using slightly better engine plates here. And I think I'm just gonna slap several of these liquid hydrogen tank engines. Or we could just, you know what? Let's sort by cross-section profile and see, like, if we have like 2.5 meter liquid hydrogen engines. I mean, we have this beast, which is the new 2.5 meter engine. It's actually looking really, really solid. How many engine starts it had? Oh, it has 13 rate ignitions, which is good enough for me. We also have this super powerful one, but don't want too powerful for now. Okay, I think we'll just use one of these. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Not gonna use the engine plate in that case. Let's put high engine quality on this thing, because if it will fail, we are going to be in a world of trouble. Okay, and so this should give us 1700 meters of delta V in orbit. But the main advantage is that all of this is just not very heavy. So like the lower stages should be able to accommodate for all of this. And let's do just that. Let's place the coupler here. And we could do the lower stage with like a liquid fuel design. Or we could also try to go for liquid hydrogen. And for now, just curious how the liquid hydrogen will kind of pile up. Oh, we have like also length restrictions here. Oh, we can't go too big, too lengthy. God damn it. Yeah, so anyway, we could use one of these like super powerful liquid hydrogen engines here. Something like this, which doesn't have a lot of ignitions, but it is pretty damn efficient. And we could definitely go for it. The problem is like it's also kind of expensive. We could just not bother and use these liquid fuel engines. They're not as efficient, but I mean, they are kind of cheaper. And because the lower stage is obviously not going to be recovered, there's definitely a bonus to using just liquid fuel engines for that extra savings. I mean, our total delta V for the upper stage here is like actually quite reasonable. It's kind of hard to tell. Should I go for like liquid fuel engine design? Or just not bother too much? What do you think? Chat, help me out here. What do you think? Should we go for like a liquid fuel design, or should we go for liquid hydrogen design? Liquid hydrogen does look pretty damn promising in the future. But liquid fuel will be just cheaper short term. It's kind of hard to say, to be honest. Definitely can't use boosters, because boosters are just so much more expensive. Alright. By the way, do we have 3 point something meter parts? Do we even have that? No, we don't. But I mean, we could use these bigger fuel tanks. They're expensive, though. They are expensive, and moreover, they're just very heavy. Okay, you know what? Let's try to go for liquid hydrogen design here. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so what if I place one of these? Oh, look at that. We're too high. We have a height requirement here. I mean, god damn it. That's a little annoying. What if we do like this? Yeah, we can do that. So this will have actually a very decent thrust to weight ratio of 1.8, and we can just pile a few more of these liquid hydrogen tanks on the sides here, just like that. And as you can see, the mass is increasing very slowly. Just pile a few more of these engines, and this will give us a very, very solid thrust to weight ratio. Actually, the thrust to weight ratio here is like slightly bigger than we really need. Can just go for like more fuel. Kind of hard to say. Okay, let's put these here. Just place them like that. And I mean, this engine is kind of cool, but it's just a little too powerful for what we're trying to do. I guess we could use the Erebus again. We already know them. We already love them. We could definitely use them. And this will give us a decent thrust to weight ratio. The problem is like the overall delta V is like a little low for this design. And also we'll have to use like slightly narrower profile here. Actually, you know what? We could try using these adapters here to 1.8 meter. And yeah, I know these are slightly heavier, but we can still put liquid hydrogen there. It's definitely possible. And we could just use a bunch of these engines. We already know them, we already trust them. Or like the trusted design that we have. The problem is that, yeah, we're having a height requirement here. Height problem. Could we shed off a meter? I mean, we could potentially just launch it unmanned. We do have like a relay network satellites. So we could just launch this entire vehicle just completely unmanned. Without having anyone on board, which is actually going to be beneficial long term as well. We do have a bunch of these antennas, so we could just have the overall design slightly shorter. Okay, can I please get like several stages like this? Yeah, that's gonna solve the height requirements that we have, and by adding a few more of these liquid hydrogen tanks, we should get like a very good both thrust to weight ratio and just overall construction. Yeah, that's actually looking pretty solid. All right, you know what? We should probably use these adapters here. Just place them right here. Switch to liquid hydrogen. Enable cooling, and do some more of these. Okay, enable cooling, and finally the advanced nose cones. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so our total delta V here is about 5 kilometers per second, which is really good, and we actually are cutting it pretty nicely on the total mass here. Actually don't need that much mass, which is surprising. I mean, could we still use one of these engines? I'm just kind of curious. What's our thrust to weight? Yeah, the problem is like one of these engines just won't give us the thrust to weight ratio that we need. By the way, what's the efficiency on these engines? Okay, this one has 368, and the Erebus has 370 and 430. Yeah, it's actually even more efficient. Okay, you know what? Why did I buy it in that case? Like, why did I bother buying this stupid engine? I know what, whatever. Okay, should we also put these as like separate boosters here? I mean, we could try to like really change the design here quite significantly by having like more of these fuel tanks here and having these as like boosters. So we'll just fire them separately. That could work nicely here. Put these, like, we could do 3 of these, like, boosters-ish design. Yeah, like that. So we'll start them first. Once they burn up, we'll start the main here engine. And this should not only get the Aurora to orbit nice and easy, but it should also leave it with quite a lot of fuel left in orbit, which is definitely a good thing. Yeah, this is actually looking pretty solid here. By the way, what's our fuel efficiency on this engine? Yeah, it's like it has horrible efficiency down low, so there's like no point in starting it with the other engines, which is actually kind of sad because our thrust to weight ratio here on like the lower stage is like suboptimal. But I guess it is what it is. Yeah, we'll just have to roll with it. This design is a little ugly. By the way, could we use... Oh, it has only compact or 2.5. It doesn't have a bow tail. God damn it. Alright, yeah, let's roll with this design. By the way, do these, like, hydrogen engines, do they have, like, structural limitations? I mean, they have very bad insulation, but other than that, I don't think it's gonna be that big of a problem. Alright, let's punch a bunch of these winglets here. Okay, and also some of these ones, just to make sure that the outer stages will fly away nicely without destroying my soul. Okay, you know what? Let's put them like this, just to make sure that they will separate nicely. Okay, let's just push them in just a little bit, like that. Don't like to clip too hard, but a little bit of clipping is fine. Alright, and so this construction here has 4,500 meters per second of delta V. Very nice. And we actually have a little bit of spare fuel capacity here. I mean, could we potentially return the crew capsule there? Because I do want to have, like, at least one docking out there. There's a benefit to launching it manned. Yeah. You know what? Let's return the crew capsule there, because, I mean, length-wise, we're actually pretty decent right now. So it's gonna be kind of hard to merge them together, so I'm gonna load the blueprint here. I'm going to rename it to Aurora Temporary, and I'm gonna have this as primary nodes. I'm gonna delete all of this stuff, just set this as the primary, and then I'll be able to just merge it to the already existing design, like that. That's the way you can like merge two vehicles if you need only a part of it there. And yeah, you know what? Let's also still use bigger docking nodes for like that little bit of extra stability. This is just not gonna hurt. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Just have to correct our fairing there. Okay, edit fairing. Okay, like that. Yeah, that's looking good enough. All right, so 4,300 something meters per second of delta V. It's actually very, very solid. I mean, we could potentially have another one of these fuel tanks here. Not because we need it in terms of delta V, but because I just want to have like a little bit of extra capacity. Also, I probably want to have slightly more fuel in these like liftoff sections here, because I mean, while the thrust to weight ratio here is pretty decent, They're not gonna burn for too long, which is a little worrisome. Alright. And we hit the mass limit. Yeah, you know what? Let's do it like this. I think this is fine. I think this is what could be considered good enough. Alright, so the thruster weight ratio on the lower stage here is a little low, but the thruster weight ratio on the next stage is like 0.7, which is okay. I mean, the aerodynamically, this is a decent vehicle. It's not too bad. Okay. Let's put a bunch of launch stability enhancers here. Just gonna put 3 right there. Also, let's think about autostruts. Autostruts are kind of important. Yeah, so we definitely want to autostrut these engines here to the heaviest parts. Also want to autostrut these guys here. And in general, just want to have like these autostrutted to the heaviest parts. Maybe the engine itself is autostrutted to root parts. This thing, autostrut to heaviest. This thing, autostrut to root parts. Just add a little bit more autostruts. We'll turn off most of them once we get to orbit, but I just want to have like a little bit of extra stability for the ascent. Because it is a pretty damn big vehicle. Alright. Yeah, I think we can go for launch. I think this is good enough. Thrust to weight ratio on the lower stage here is like not perfect, but I mean, we have so much delta V that it's probably not going to be a big concern. Okay. Yeah. Let's just check the experiments. Just see that we have everything set up properly. Yeah, I think everything's good on that front. Just make sure that we have crossfeed enabled here. Actually, you know what? I think the fairing here will block fuel anyway. I have this like feeling. So in terms of our cargo, we do have like a bunch of stuff that I placed in the design itself. I think we could get rid of these. I think we could just place a bunch of like fuel pipes there, just in case. Also fuel cylinders, definitely very welcome. Yeah, let's just add a bunch of these fuel pipes there. Okay, they should be somewhere here. Yeah, external fuel ducts. Let's just add a bunch of them here. I don't know which one's bigger, by the way. Okay. Yeah, that's looking good enough. That's actually smaller. So let's do it like that. Yeah, okay, that's good enough. All right. I think we actually have like all we need. Everything we need. Let's just check. So the fuel all is okay. Food, we have 26 days worth of food, water, and oxygen, which should be good enough. And let's also put an engineer here. Just make sure we have a scientist in the mobile processing lab. Also have an engineer in the Dawn habitation module, and Jebediah will be in the command pod. Okay, that's looking good enough. All right, let's launch this. I guess we have everything set up, everything checked. I should probably create like a checklist that I can just go through, because I just go in like a random order checking stuff. Should probably have like a checklist specifically. All right, let's go for launch. Okay, let's launch this. I have no clue what the correct descent profile is. So it's gonna be a wild shot. But hopefully it'll go well. Hopefully it'll be fine. Alright, I'm not gonna load any passengers for now. I'm just gonna have these guys here. Alright, let's start the engines. Oh, one of the engines failed. God damn it. That's unfortunate. Yeah, like, fail on ignition. That's possible, which is like really annoying. Hey, hello there. I'm doing good. Okay, yeah, one of the engines failed, and that's actually the reason why I have these stability enhancers. So I first start the engines, and only when I'm sure the engines are running properly, only then do I actually stage them. Which in this case saved this vehicle. Unfortunately, we'll have to pay for like the engine that failed. But at least we didn't pay for it with the entire space station, which is definitely very nice. All right, let's launch it. I mean, I don't want to purchase the upgrade for the engines because it's really, really expensive. We have an upgrade for the next stage engine because that's definitely very important. If that fails, we're not gonna have a fail-safe. But these engines, yeah, they do have like a 0.7% chance of failure, which when you have 3 is like 3 times bigger, essentially. But yeah, I think, yeah, so by default they have like 0.7% chance, and we actually got one of them to fail, which is a little unfortunate, but, you know, is what it is. All right, let's try this one more time. Hopefully this time everything will go great. Okay, let's set up the mech chap. Let's set to kill rotation. Let's start the engines. And let's stage the vehicle. Okay, and on it goes very, very slow here. Yeah, it is a heavy boy. Very heavy. Like, the thruster weight ratio is like barely over 1. But as we're gonna be burning up liquid hydrogen, we obviously will see the thruster weight ratio increase rapidly. I just want to get high enough that our next stage engine will have a decent ISP, a decent thrust. Because right now our next stage is like at 0.3 thruster weight ratio, but as you can see, as we're going higher, the thruster weight ratio on that stage is increasing rapidly. And also, I want to be careful when I stage the Airstream Protective Shell here, because it is really, really heavy. Like, pretty much as soon as I pop the boosters, I'll probably stage it. As soon as we get through the, like, through the dense parts of the atmosphere. And actually, you know what? We already are at like 1.5 thruster weight ratio. So let's set ourselves to surface velocity plus and start gaining a little bit of horizontal velocity here. Just gonna line it up a little bit here just to correct for our orbital ascent. I mean, that's not going to be too big of an issue. We'll be able to correct in orbits, like those minor corrections. We do have like extra delta V. Just want to be careful with that. All right, and damn, these engines, they have just such a cool effect on them. Also, using liquid hydrogen is like really, really efficient and also ecological, because you're burning liquid hydrogen and oxygen, you're basically getting water. So it's also a very eco-friendly launch here. Alright, let's start going slightly more horizontal here. Yeah, the thrust to weight ratio rapidly increased to like 2.3, 2.5 here. Yeah, we definitely need to get more horizontal velocity here. Okay, those ones burned off. Okay, let's stage them here. Just careful, careful, careful. Okay. Let's try to get away. Please don't collide with me. Please don't do that. Okay, okay, okay. I think we can pop the fairing here. Hopefully it'll deploy nicely. Okay, good. And now we need to get into orbit. Let's just plot the maneuver here. Okay. That was a little inefficient here. Okay, let's plot a little less. Okay, yeah, that's looking good. So we need to burn a lot. So let's get started with that. Because our thrust to weight ratio here is like not very good. It's like 0.76, which is good-ish. But the problem, like, for this stage is that we don't really have, like, a lot of fuel. Our oxidizer is, like, the biggest in terms of weight. But we don't have, like, a lot of it, so the thrust-to-weight ratio won't really increase as we burn more fuel. Okay, let's time warp here a little bit. So the way I'm doing this launch right now is just, I want to get as much horizontal velocity as I possibly can. And as you can see, our altitude is dropping here quite drastically. Once we get to like lower altitude, I'll actually pitch up here a little bit to just reduce our horizontal velocity, or rather vertical velocity, because I don't want to touch the atmosphere any more that we've touched it so far. Okay. Okay, can we please get a bit more thrust here? And unfortunately, I think we'll touch the atmosphere here a little bit. Okay, can we please get the vertical speed up? Okay, it's good. Let's actually disable this node because it's like really useless here. Okay, alright. And now we'll just continue gaining more horizontal velocity. Not the most efficient launch because the thrust to weight ratios on this craft are kind of all over the place. We start very low, then it decreases to like 2.5, then it just drops down to like below 1. It's very hard to launch rockets when your thrust to weight ratio like goes up, down, left, right. It's just really annoying. Okay. Let's reduce thrust here. We should be pretty close. Actually, you know what? Let's lock staging here while we still can, because I definitely don't want to stage it right now. We've already had problems, and yeah, I've actually found how to lock staging. It's super plus L. Super is like whatever the super key is for your Kerbal Space Program. For Windows, it's Alt. For Linux, it's right shift. For Mac, I have no clue. But there's definitely a keybind to lock staging, which is very, very welcome. Alright, and we'll just bring our periapsis here to roughly 70 kilometers as well. I want to keep the space station at about like 75 apoapsis and periapsis, something like that. But for now, I just want to get, in general, to orbit and just secure the space station. The way I want to keep it, the reason why I want to keep it in a rather low orbit is because once we're going to be launching space planes, it's just going to be easier to refuel the space station because we're going to have very, very little inefficiencies. Yeah, I knew that it was possible to do from like cockpits, and then it was like, well, if you can do that from cockpits, you can probably do that from like the game itself. And I opened like the Kerbal Space Program wiki page, and yeah, there it was. Like, you can lock staging from not only the cockpits, because I mean, you obviously can do that from cockpits. Like, it's obviously not hard. You can just go let me just select. Yeah, so there's like this thing here with the station. You can just lock and unlock station. And I was like, well, I mean, if that functionality is already present in Kerbal Space Program, there should be like a proper keybind for it. I mean, does sound like a good thing to have. And as you can see, we have completed the contracts here to include a science lab and launch the Kerbin Space Station. They gave us a bunch of money. Not that much. I was actually kind of hoping it's going to be slightly more. Oh, because we haven't completed the contract altogether. We also need some time to completion. It's like 2 days. All right. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. It's both a sunset and an eclipse. That's kind of funny. Very rare event. So, yeah. Hope you took a screenshot there. Well, I mean, there's the recording. Okay, so what we have to figure out now is we don't really have a lot of electric charge. And I just want to put all of the liquid hydrogen to just a few select tanks, just to reduce our cost to cool it down. Because right now we're cooling all like 4 tanks, which is like very inefficient because we don't really have a lot of cooling there. Can it please work? Okay. Yeah, so I just want to put all of the liquid hydrogen into one tank. Unfortunately, couldn't put all of it. We still have some left. I guess it is what it is. But let's just make sure we do have this like jammed experiment running here. A Kerbin Space Low. It is using up a lot of electricity. Let's just micromanage it a little bit because we don't have those like arms with tons of electronics and resources and everything, so we'll have to micromanage here. Okay, so our experiment here is using like tons of electricity, so let's stop that for now. Okay, what else? We have cooling, which is definitely using quite a little bit. We have data upload here, but it'll finish shortly. It's definitely not gonna produce too much. Okay, and now the electric charge should last us about 40 minutes-ish. And that's already, like, good enough. I mean, the default space station here, it has, like, tons of these batteries around the station core here. And that should give us a decent amount of electricity. Let's time warp here to the sunrise, just make sure that our solar panels exposure is good enough. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you sunrise in orbit shortly. Please stand by as we perform our sunrise. Okay. I'm just looking at this number here. I just want to increase the average exposure there. Okay. Look at that. Absolute beauty. Damn, I really like these sunrises. Sunset sunrises, just really cool. Alright, and that's gonna be kind of it. As you can see, our electric charge is charging when we are in space. We can't run the experiments for now because they require a lot of electric, both storage and production. We are using a bunch of electricity right now to cool the tanks. So that's kind of annoying. But yeah, that is our Aurora space station. Really, really good. Alright, let's save the game here, and we could go for like launching the arms right now, but I'm actually like not really feeling myself too well right now. So I think we'll wrap the stream right here. And in the next one, we'll probably do a bit more management. We'll launch a bunch of stuff to the Aurora. We'll attach the arms. And we'll probably... I think we'll research hydroponics and also, like, create our first orbital garden. Maybe, like, do some refueling. Maybe we'll do some, like, air missions with planes. Not really sure. So I guess I'll have to figure it out a little bit. But for now, this is looking really, really good. And yeah, let's do our traditional like saving like stream. Which one it is? It's 7th, right? Okay, so stream 007. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining the stream. Thank you, Felsen, for being here. I already remember you, which is nice, I guess. And yeah, thank you very much for joining. Airplane missions would be kind of cool, and I really want to do that. Also show off the autopilots for MechJet for planes. And potentially, yeah, I'll do it like just a relaxed stream. It's going to be a very long stream because we're going to have to fly for a very long time to all of the destinations. But yeah. Okay, for now it's good enough. Okay, let's end the stream here. Thank you.